Hello. So, with the new Clash of Worlds mode, a lot of people I think are getting really hung up on the you have to set three teams or whatever. Like you have to, it's like set three teams. I think people are like, well, I don't have 15 heroes. Like, here's the thing: you don't actually need to set three teams. Like, if you don't want to, like, here's the thing: like, if you have two teams, you have you can set patronages on more heroes. Let's see if we set, but one, two, three, four, five. There you go. So there's 5 patrons on this team, 4 on this team. There's only 9 pets. So if you only have like 2 teams where you're really putting everything in there, like you're organizing like 2 teams, it's like some ways it's better to have just 2 teams where you can have like one team with Sebastian, one team with Chorus, and then you can also use 5 patrons and 4 patrons, and then third team can just be Chump Team. Like you can just use like the best of your rest just to kind of fill spots, or even like say maybe you use this team like that's like 5 tank heroes or 5 control heroes or something to maybe make use of a buff building. Sometimes like that will be better. Like so here's the thing with 30 players in a guild, every player gets 3 teams. 30 times 3 is 90, but there's only 60 defending teams. So like if you have a lot, like so if you're in a guild where everybody is really strong, like you don't have if you have a guild where every guild player can put up 2 really good teams instead of trying to build like a third team that sucks, you could just try to build 3 really good team or 2 really good teams. Maximize your patronage, maximize like your protection between Chorus and Sebastian, and you'll probably make 2 better teams than 3 rather than 3 mediocre teams. And those 2 better teams will help out your guild more than having like a lesser team or trying to make or spread your stuff too thin. I mean, if you've played the game like me where you actually can do a third team where I could put like a Stone Cold type line, I can make 3 teams. Like they're fairly, reasonable. Like I can have like 1 really strong team and then 2 reasonable teams. Like this team's pretty reasonable. This team's pretty reasonable. We'll probably switch the patrons up a bit, but I can put up 3 teams that are reasonable. Most people can't put up 3 teams that are reasonable. And trying to level up 15 heroes. Same thing with Grand Arena. You don't need to. Just focus on 10 heroes. Like you can focus on like your Stone Cold heroes, like Isaac. Like you'd replace Sebastian with Fox, but like Isaac, Ju, Nebula, Sebastian, Martha, and then you could do Aurora and Celeste, and then you could do like 3 more DPS. Maybe you want Arachnemaya, or you want Crystallars, or something else. Like, and you'll make like 10, get like 10 heroes that are, make 2 good teams. You'll have your Stone Cold line, and then you'll have like a Twins team or Arachnemaya team or something. That's like really good. Like if you have like a Twins team, right? It's like you have a Stone Cold line, and then you have a Twins line. Where's Lars? Oh, he's right here. Like maybe you'll have a Twins line, and then you'll have like a Stone Cold type line. Like so where's Stone Cold here? We'll put Sebastian here. You'll have like a line like that, and then maybe you'll have like a support or something, like whatever. Like you can build teams like this. You can just build like 2 really good teams. Focus on building like 2 good teams. You'll have your Stone Cold line, which is needed for raids. For like Osh the Keeper. Actually, you'd probably have Marth over. So Thea, though Thea's really good versus a low level Osh. Like Thea's really good too. Like she's also really good at Ju in like a lot of things. Like if you have Thea develop, you might want her over with Martha in this particular line, because Thea Ju is really good in PvP. But you could do a line like this, then you can do a line like this, that works for like you can stack a team. Like you could, for those players, you'll have something like that, and then you'll have like a third team that's like the best of your rest, or maybe it's like 5 of the same class to try to maybe give your guild a bonus to like one of the buff buildings, like if there's nothing better to put. But stuff like that is stuff to consider. Like it just, a lot of people, like you don't need to try to spread your resources in. Like it's just better to have, fewer, like I said, just focus on powering up a smaller number of heroes. Like you will help your guild a lot more by powering up a smaller number of heroes. Most guilds are not going to get the clean sweep in your Clash of Worlds. Like, you're not going to probably get the full 56, 40 points. Like, but you can focus like on trying to get key like buildings. Like if you go back to the main screen, like you want to get certain fortifications. So you want to get like the bridge, the like one of the bastions or the gates, the temples, the citadel, the Pyros Bridge. Like most guilds are going to focus on like the primary buildings, like, you know, and then it's like after that, like these buff buildings, they have a bonus, but they could be tough to take. Those are kind of like after you take the Citadel. Citadel should be the main focus. Like it's just like after, like most guilds are not going to take everything. So, right, if you have 90 hero attacks, like, you know, if you have two good hero teams, like assume like you have two teams that could beat two relatively like powerful teams. You can get 2 wins out of those 60 for your guild, and you know, through 60 heroes, through 690 attacks, you should be able to get most of these buildings, or at least a good number of them. Like you'll get like the Citadel, you might get like the City Hall or the Alchemy Tower or some of these other ones. Like you'll have like Titan teams, but Titans are a bit tougher. Like, you know, I don't think, because you only have 60 attacks and there's 40 defending teams, like there's a bit less. I mean, it just like percentage wise, it's the same, but because of the Titan buildings, like, you know, the buffs on these are like probably harder. Like this is probably the hardest buildings to take, the Bastion of Ice. This is turning out to be one of the hardest buildings to take, because of just how that energy gains with the water titans. So you might take more like hits to go through the titans. And because you only have such a small number of titans, like after you've used your water titan, like you only have 3 super titans right now. So it's like after you've used like 2 supers in one team, you won't have a second super for your other team. So you use like some lesser, like weaker combos. So the titans are a bit harder to actually clear the board. With the heroes, like you got more leeway. So again, just focusing on trying to make 2 good teams, and then you'll have like a trump team for like a cleanup. Like maybe there's a cleanup, like someone missed, almost got a theme. That's the one you'll use your third teams to clean up, something like this. Like somebody, like, you know, you have like a 28 point or whatever, like where there's 1 hero left. This is when you'd bring in your chump team for your third attack, just to kind of clean up a hit like this. You know, so don't get too hung up on this. Like don't, like, you don't want to spread your resource too thin. This is why you'll see me, I'll have heroes I don't even summon, or I'll have heroes I haven't even bothered to develop. Like, you don't develop heroes you're not going to use, you're not planning on using. It's just better to focus on a small set of heroes that you actually need. Sebastian, Aurora, Celeste, Ju, Isaac, Nebula, those are all really good. Thea and Martha, it also, I mean, Martha is pretty good. Thea, I think, is much better for PvP. So, you know, if you do that, there's 8 heroes, then you could do like Lars Krista to make a 10, or Arachnemaya to make a 10. But for most players, like, you know, that's enough. Like, you'll have 10 heroes. Helios can be good. Is like a 10th or 11th hero as a support. So there's a lot of options. Like you can make a really good like 2 teams with just like that small set of heroes, and just like kind of focus on it. And I actually did a video about like 7 heroes you should focus on, which focused on the Stone Cold line plus Aurora Celeste, which I do think is a very solid core for most players to build around. And if you want to see that video, check it out below. And as always, thank you for watching.